Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe. Today we are going to start chapter number 2 of our AS syllabus 9608, Communication and Networking Technologies. I hope all of you have purchased your new books. If not, this presentation will actually help you as a part of your notes as well, but still I would recommend that you get your books as soon as possible. Let's see what a computer network is. In this, we're actually
नहीं खोल रहा ना
what we are actually trying to do here, we are trying to understand how computer networks are beneficial to us, what actually a computer network is. So, by the definition, a computer network can be a collection of computers which are interconnected together and they are sharing their resources and their data. If two computers are connected together and you are sitting at one computer and accessing the files from the other computer, so that means those computers are actually part of a network. In your home network, you might be having a DSL router and all your mobile phones and computers are connected through Wi-Fi to that router. And theoretically, if you have configured it correctly, you are able to access the files of your computer through your router because all of you are part of the same network. Most of you have been to your IT labs, your computer labs. The collection of computers in your IT lab are usually made into a network so that the resources can be shared. For example, if we are a part of a network, we are sharing an internet connection. A single internet connection can be shared. If we are a part of a network, a single printer can be shared across all the computers. So that actually reduces the cost of hardware that we are buying. And the software as well. We can have the application server and install the software on that application server, and then we can use those application softwares from our own computers across the network. So to summarize it, a network is an interconnected collection of computers which can share their resources and their data. Now, on the basis of size, there are different types of network. First of all, there is a local area network, the smallest of which actually this can be across a building or a few buildings. This size of network that I'm actually trying to show you right now is based on the size of the network. How much area is the network is covering. So the local area network is the smallest of them all. Then you have metropolitan area network. Now a metropolitan area network actually covers a range of the whole city, maybe. I should mention that I'm just adding metropolitan area network in my lecture for your knowledge purpose only. In your book and the syllabus, there are no references made to this type of network. You can visualize it as a medium sized network. Then we have a WAN, a wide area network, which actually covers a country, or it is connected across the countries through the continents. It can be a global area, global network. One part of wide area network can be here and the other part can be somewhere in Europe. So this would be the largest network in terms of the coverage of area. The local area network, or LAN, is the network that I was mentioning earlier in my lecture. The network that is in your home, or maybe in your office, or maybe in the IT lab of your schools, your computer labs. All of them are actually having this type of network, the local area network. If You're connecting two computers, you are making a local area network. Local area network is actually very easy to make, easy to wire. Now you have dynamically configured switches available to you. You don't have to actually manually configure the networks and add your computers to the network. You can just simply attach your computer to a router through Wi-Fi or through twisted pair cable, and you are a part of the network. If you enable the file sharing, you are able to share the files across the network as well. As I told you at the beginning of the lecture, a LAN may cover a small area. A building or a few buildings are still considered a local area network. This can be a visual representation of the LAN. See that LAN is actually a collection of individual nodes. Now, these computers may have the end users sitting on them, and the users who are actually accessing these network facilities through their computers. The benefits of LAN, as I told you earlier, a network is basically enabling us to share the resources. So the benefits of LAN actually summarize all that. First of all, let's talk about the software. You know that the licensed software and the proprietary software actually cost a lot. And if you are having a small network of 20 computers in your office, you might have to install 20 copies of a software. But if you make one of those computers an application server and then you install your costly application software on that computer, and other computers can just log on to that application server and use the softwares, your cost will be quite less. Your software cost will be quite less. Then you can also make one of those computer into a file server. A file server will have all your data files on that. Imagine that you have one computer with a lot of hard drives, big hard drives. For example, you installed a hard drive of 4 terabytes on one computer, and all the other computers can have smaller hard drives. They just need to run the operating system because all the data is hosted on one of the computers. That is actually making the cost of the storage quite less. You don't have to buy bigger hard drives for each and every computer. You don't have to store different copies of data on every computer. You can just have a simple file server, and all of your users can access and store their files on that server, which can also make your computers work on the same file collaboratively. Then hardware is also a big issue. If you have again 20 computers and you need printers and you are buying 20 printers, so that would be quite unwise and quite costly. You can simply make a network and attach a printer directly to your network, or you can make one of your computers a print server and attach one or two printers to that computer. So every other computer of the network will send commands of printing to that print server, and that print server will use its printers to print the data. So that will actually help you to reduce the cost of printing, and long-term maintenance cost will also be reduced because you will have to maintain only those one or two printers. Rather than having 20 cheap printers, you can buy one or two good quality printers. Then since you have everything networked, every computer is connected, you have 20 employees and all of them are having their own computers and they are part of the network, you don't have to circulate the papers among them. All the files, all the memos, the directives, the letters can be sent digitally through the network in the form of soft copy to the peoples connected to the network, and that will actually reduce the cost of buying paper. And a paperless office is beneficial to the owners as well as the environment. The characteristics of a LAN. How would you recognize a local area network? First of all, a LAN is actually used in one premises, one site, branch of a bank maybe, is interconnected to a LAN. LAN is the property of the company which is using it. The local area network which is in your home is actually your property. Then you can have multiple local area networks in your office, in your school, in your branch as well. To wire the network, you all sometimes use cables, which is the twisted pair cable, or nowadays simply use the Wi-Fi to connect to the network. Then every time you are trying to make a LAN nowadays, you actually have a central device. In one of my next lectures, I'm going to talk about the networking topologies, means methods to make the network. And in those lectures, I'm going to tell you that networks are actually made, sometimes they are made using a central device which connect all the computers together. That central device may be a hub or a switch or a router, but that enables the computers to get connected with each other. Nowadays at your home, you are using the DSL router to get connected to your local area network, and then through that you can also connect to the internet. There will be end systems connected with the LAN. End system means the users actually themselves are connected to the network. That takes us to wide area network. As I told you, metropolitan area network or MAN is not actually directly included in our syllabus, so which is actually a medium-sized network. So we don't need to go into the detail of that. First of all, as I told you, WAN actually spans across countries or continents or the whole globe. So it's actually a largest type of network. Internet is also one of the examples of WAN. The organizations that are working globally, a bank or an airline or an insurance company, they are using internet, but they have to have their own private network. Branches of banks connected with each other actually have to have their own private networks. What they do is actually they get the service from an internet service provider. The connectivity is provided by a PSTN, publicly switched telephone company, or some ISP, and using the connectivity service of that company, the bank can connect their computers, their branches together across the globe. You see, this is actually a visual representation of a WAN. Your 6 offices may be situated across the globe in anywhere in the 6 countries. Your wide area network is actually connected through the internet. Now, as it is actually connected through the internet, the WAN is not owned by the company who is running it. If I'm making a wide area network for my company, I'm using the infrastructure of the internet. So I do not own the network. I'm just borrowing it, leasing it from the company, renting it from the ISP actually. The benefits is that we can work remotely. For example, I want to run a search query and I don't have the processing power of my computer to run that search query. But when I'm using the search engine, I'm using their computers to do the job for me. this extensively uh, search queries that we put into the search engines every day, actually we are using their processing power to do our job. Being part of the network enables us to use the processing powers of other computers to do the processing of application softwares. Your backup can be stored on one computer and the other computers can just use it. Again, I would use the example of a bank. The main database of the bank, which is storing all the data of the account holders, may be stored on somewhere in the head office. But all the branches are connected to that database and they are using the same database file to store and access the data of their clients. And that database is actually stored somewhere on in the whole world and all the computers can access it. Then also you can send messages as well through the network. The characteristics, how would you recognize the a WAN is, first of all, it is actually used to connect your different offices across the world or across the globe. As I mentioned earlier, it is not owned by the company who is using it. It is actually leased by an internet service provider or a publicly switched telephone company. You can consider the example of PTCL in this regard. A dedicated communication link is provided by the PSTN. If I'm leasing a connection from my ISP, they're going to give me a dedicated bandwidth, and inside that bandwidth, I can make my virtual private network or VPN, which can connect my different branches together. So inside the internet, I'm going to have my own private network, which is providing me connectivity to connect all of my global offices. And the transmission medium will be fiber optic cable or satellites, because again it's the global communication, so Wi-Fi and twisted pair cable cannot cover that much area. The transmission of WAN will be from switch to switch. At this point, I'm just telling you that switch is the central device which connect one network. WAN is a collection of different interconnected LANs. Again, different local area networks are connected through internet maybe to make a wide area network. So one local area network is actually connected using the switch. Switch is a central device which is connecting all the computers of a local area network. So that switch is actually connected to the switch of the local area network through internet. So that is why the communication is from switch to switch. We will learn more about these in the network topologies lecture. There's a typing mistake. It's actually WAN, not WAS. A switch will connect WAN to each site. There will not be any systems directly connected to WAN. We are not actually connected directly to internet. We are actually connected to internet using our DSL routers. So every user or end system is not actually directly connected to WAN. We are connected to our switches or routers, and those devices are connected to the internet. In the end, I would just give you a general comparison of the local area network and wide area network. In terms of cost, LAN always low cost, and also LAN is usually one-time cost. You wire the network, you buy the switch or the router, and you are running your network. The cost of WAN actually is usually yearly or monthly subscription fees that you pay to the company who is actually providing you the internet connectivity to make your WAN across the globe. The size, we have already talked about it. In LAN, actually, since you're covering smaller area, your speed can be in gigabits. But in WAN, your speed is hardly in 50 to 100 megabits in most areas of the world. So WAN is much slower than LAN. And as far as the transmission media goes, LAN can be made using the twisted pair cable or the Wi-Fi. And WAN has to be made using fiber optics and radio waves and satellites because they need to cover the area on the global scale. LAN number of computers are actually very less as compared to WAN. There can be thousands and thousands computers connected to a wide area network. LAN is usually a few hundred computers. That brings us to the end of our today's lecture. This covers the first two headings of your second chapter. It was an introductory lecture. So no worksheet is included with this lecture. However, on Monday, we would do one which would include a part of today's lecture and a part of Monday's lecture. See you on Monday. Stay safe. Allah Hafiz.